Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. The first phase of polling in Jammu and Kashmir has got over, and this was the first election after the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. Now, today, 24 assembly constituencies went for polls across the Chenab Valley of Doda, Kishtwar, and Ramban, as well as the South Kashmir districts of Anantnag, Pulwama, Kulgam, and Shopia. Now, the voter turnout till about 3 p.m. was a little over 50%. And when you see the visuals and the kind of visuals which have been coming since morning, we saw long queues of people standing outside the polling centers. Now, out of these 24 seats, 8 seats are located in Jammu and 16 seats are located in the valley, which has been an area, or would you call it a nucleus of militant activities in the previous years. So, how are the odds stacked up this time as far as these 8 seats of Jammu are concerned, and also the 16 seats of the Valley are concerned? Who seems to be having an edge? Because this time, everybody is saying that fundamentally there are altered positions of the stakeholders, and that is merely because of the fundamentalist and the separatist forces becoming very, very active. And there are independents who have been backed by the Jamaat Islami. Then you have Sheikh Abdul Rashid, who's popularly known as Rashid Engineer, and who belongs to the party called Awami Ittehad Party. So everybody has been saying that he is a proxy of BJP, and all sorts of allegations have come up. But as far as these 20 seats are concerned, how are the odds stacked up? Joining me now is Rohin Kumar, who's a journalist and author from Kashmir. Thank you so much, Rohin, for joining. We have Nadir Ali, who's the director for Center for Peace and Development. Thank you, Nadir, so much for joining. And I'll begin the discussion today with Rohin. What is the kind of excitement? Did you see a new kind of an excitement almost after a decade in Kashmir? What did you feel when you saw the long queues of people standing outside the polling centers?
Uh, Thank you so much for this, conversation. And of course, there is a lot of excitement among people, but at the same time, in Kashmir, excitement do always have its own fears, and people are quite apprehensive. Uh, there is excitement. There is also sense of hopelessness, and I would say there is also a sense of how do we explain this? People are concerned if these elections are going to be free and fair. So this is one of the major concerns of people because of a lot of proxies into the conversation already. Uh, who is team B of whom will be known later, but as far as elections are concerned, people are voting, and definitely, as you mentioned earlier, who is gonna have edge. So definitely NC and Congress alliance is going to seems to be having an edge for now. But of course there is a wave of sentiment which sometimes visuals can make you confused about where these elections are actually going. But for now, the result for now, I would say definitely people are voting. People are believing or trying to believe that these elections are going to be free and fair, and there will be no disturbances coming from Delhi in formation of a new government.
Rohin, I'll come to you only. These 8 seats, and let's go one by one. 8 seats of Jammu and 16 seats of the Valley. Now, how are the political equations poised as far as Jammu is concerned? And then I'll later on come to the Valley.
No, in Jammu, see, of course, we felt BJP might have an edge, but because uh, a lot of resentment against BJP is very visible now in Jammu, and definitely uh, the only area where BJP would perform would be Jammu, but still they are having a very hard time because the alliance, NC Congress alliance, is actually giving them a very tight challenge, and it's not going to be very easy for BJP even in the Jammu region. Of course, they are not going to perform, or it will be a zero in, of course, in the valley, but in Jammu, their seats are expected to decline. They are not going above 15 or 20. That doesn't seem to be a scenario for now.
Right. Now, let me come to Nadir that what is the role this time of the independents who are backed by forces like Jamaat-e-Islami, and is it really going to make the Kashmir elections of 2024 very, very different from what we have seen in the yesteryears?
First of all, thanks for inviting me. It's not going to have that much of impact as far as elections are concerned, because the people of Valley are much mature politically. They understand, it's not going to good for people of Kashmir if they are going to divide the votes. So I think this independent, the candidates, they are nowhere currently. So there is a lot of confusion in the Jamaat also. At Jamaat they are participating, but on the ground level, their workers are confused. Earlier it was haram for them, now it's halal to them. So there is a confusion in within the Jamaat. But the
But
real
let
question
me
is,
interrupt you, Nadir. You said that even the Jamaat is confused somewhere on the ground. Now, what
yeah,
is the source of this confusion? Where is this confusion streaming from?
because there are Jamaat could there are 47 seats in Kashmir Valley. They are only 6 to 7. They have contested in 6 to 7 seats. So it clearly shows they don't have candidates.
All right.
So there's no demand from the Jamaat. They could have. I mean, they could have. There are a lot of. They could contest in other seats also. There's a pocket. I mean, they are contesting in small pockets. But the basic question is, Kashmiris have understood. This time we had to keep BJP away. So in the valley, particularly in South Kashmir, this block, where today 16 there are elections on 16 constituencies. It's clear as far the India Alliance. People are saying there are some it's on some seats on PDP, but they have openly told that they are part of the India Alliance.
Hmm.
So there is
Right.
no such kind of impact on Kashmir Valley, on Kashmir assembly elections, as far as independents are concerned.
Right. So you are saying that independents do not comprise of a very strong force. So which
No,
means
not
that I come to the next question to you, Nadir, that which means that the National Conference and Congress, are they strong, in their might as far as the valley is concerned then?
absolutely, there is no doubt. They are very much strong. I will give you one example. When the parliament election started in Kashmir, in India, I mean, there was a wave, tsunami in North Kashmir. Everybody, Rashid had a pressure cooker symbol. So people came out on roads to show we are going to vote for pressure cooker. We are going to vote for Injar Rashid. Now he is campaigning he campaigned in South Kashmir. He's campaigning in Central Kashmir. He's campaigning in North Kashmir. But as far as South Kashmir is concerned, I didn't see such kind of wave, such kind of tsunami on ground. So as far as Injured Rashid is concerned, he has also failed in South
Faction.
Kashmir.
Right.
Yeah,
All right. Now, Rohin, now what would you say to the kind of voting percentage which we are seeing? It's about like till about 3 p.m. It was close to above 50%. Now, is that an encouraging voter turnout, you would say, Rohin?
No, I think that's quite normal for Kashmir. I mean, even if you see the data for 2014 or 19, Kashmiris have always believed in the democratic process and they have come out, stood in lines, and they have voted. But to just take these standing cues or visuals as a support towards everything is okay or things are changing in ground would not be a good assumption coming out from these images. Other thing, I tend to differ a little from Nadir. Definitely, Congress and NC does seem to have an edge even in the Kashmir Valley. But Engineer Rashid or Jamaat Islami backed independent candidates are actually making some noise, and if it translates into votes or how much of dent are they able to put into the alliance faction, will be a thing. Of course, the results will tell us. But what Engineer Rashid has been saying in his speeches, or what especially Engineer Rashid actually resonates with the sentiments of Kashmiris. And these elections are not only an elections to keep BJP away from the politics of Jammu and Kashmir, but it's also an election of sentiments, because NC and Congress alliance, or be it PDP, they have failed to address the issues of Kashmir. And if you see the panicking Abdullahs and Muftis, so that has only happened because actually Baramulla was won by Engineer Rashid by a huge margin, defeating Umar Abdullah and
But
Sajad Lone.
Rohin, you made an important point. You said that this time PDP is on a downswing. It doesn't look like a very strong force
Yeah.
because of the independence and people like Engineer Rashid who are being backed by Jamaat Islami. Now, are these fundamentalist and separatist forces seen as BJP's proxy, or they are supposed to be like a B team to BJP? How does the people, or I mean, how do the people of Kashmir view these forces? I mean, of course, they are talking about free everybody from the jails, then withdraw the UAPA cases. They've also been talking about the fact that the militants should be brought in the mainstream. The torture should be stopped. All this is a narrative of the fundamentalist forces and the Jamaat Islami. But are they the proxy? Are they, in real terms, are they the proxy of BJP? Whom are they denting actually?
Uh, if you give me 1 minute, I'll explain this
Yes, yes.
politics
Go ahead.
of
Go ahead.
proxy. Uh, who in Valley cannot be called a proxy is my question. I just twist your question. Who in the Valley cannot be termed as a proxy?
Okay.
PDP has been a proxy to the BJP. They went into the alliance. So NC always told that PDP is a proxy. NC already has been part of NDA government in the past, right? So if NC and Congress or PDP are calling these candidates as proxies, that does not hold so much of truth. But there is a lot of confusion and misconception among people on the ground that actually if Jamaat is into the elections or not, because Jamaat Islami backed candidates, the kind of statements they have made, they have actually exposed themselves, which is not an actual line of Jamaat, right? Jamaat Islami candidate from Kulgam, Shayer Ahmed Reshi, last evening I heard his statement saying that people should be celebrating elections as if a festival. They should be wearing new clothes and dancing and everything. So that has
That's not
not been in
Jamaat's language,
stand of
and that is not the
that's never
language of
Jamaat
Jamaat.
stand, and that is not the language of Jamaat. So last evening I also come across. I'm not sure if this is fake or this is a real statement issued by Jamaat Islami. They have actually thanked their cadre. I read it the first line for you. We congratulate our grassroots cadre for not falling for the deceit of self-proclaimed panel that has been imposed upon us by the BJP RSS for its electoral benefits and has been acting at the handmaiden of BJP and RSS. So Jamaat also is trying to test its own waters, and they have kept its voters quite confused on ground because in Kulgam, if you see the visuals of the rally
What does it
that happened.
what does it gain? What does Jamaat gain by confusing its voters? Because ultimately it is in the electoral fray. Or is there a confusion about it?
No, actually, there is no solid line where Jamaat could say that they are entering into the elections. If you listen to these Jamaat-backed candidates, they say very clearly that they are contesting elections to lift the ban that has been imposed on Jamaat. To fight an election to lift the ban is in itself a very funny thing to say, because in February 2024, the ban on Jamaat was extended. So Jamaat actually, there has always been a faction within the Jamaat that has always wanted to be part of the electoral process, but post the rigging by the same alliance between the Congress and the NC in the past, there has been a complete disillusionment with the
No, but
politics,
is
democratic
Jamaat a
politics.
divided house? Is Jamaat a divided house? Like certain sections are active, certain sections are not active. Is there a thing like this which you see or is visible?
So Jamaat is actually currently, I would say, it confused also, or very strategically it has kept its cadre very confused, because they also want to check for themselves that what are the people wanting. If people actually vote in South Kashmir in favor of these Jamaat backed candidates, because Jamaat has never declined themselves, saying that they are not part of the process, and these statements actually have came 24 hours before the first round of voting. So for all this time, for a month, Jamaat had did not issue a statement, and a big rally was held in favor of Jamaat Islami. There were
No,
more
but
than, I would say,
is it true that BJP and RSS guys they tried to connect with Jamaat Islami? Is that true?
Uh, it can be true. It can be true. I do not say that it cannot be true, and I also do not deny that it may be a false thing to say. But because Ram Madhav, the way Ram Madhav was brought in Jammu and Kashmir elections, Ram Madhav is known to be uh, joining hands with all the proxies, all the independents, I mean, all the opposite poles. So hence Ram Madhav is always brought into the picture. So there may be an chance that there might have been a certain kind of deal. And in Kashmir, all such theories always run, or always are afloat in Kashmir, that who has had a deal with people, because it's a population that has been actually tortured, that has always lived in certain kind of fears, and it has always seen agencies operating at different quarters. So people to make such statements or believe that there has been a deal between the
Right.
candidates. Uh, People do also say that if NC gets numbers, and if Congress does not perform well, NC would not shy away from joining hands with BJP. Even Umar Abdullah, for now, can say that he is not joining hands with BJP, but he cannot assure. Nobody believed that PDP and BJP could come into an alliance, but they came. I do not believe in calling anybody as proxies, because in Kashmir, everybody is a proxy of Delhi.
Okay. Nadir, now if you look at the different stakeholders of this Kashmir election, on one hand you have a BJP, on the other hand you have Congress and JKNPP National Conference. Then you have, of course, these independents and the fundamentalist forces. Now, out of all these polls, which poll do you think is the strongest? Are independents and the fundamentalist forces really holding the reins of this election? And is this election all about them, not about the national parties or the regional parties?
When we look at the vote shares and the hope of people, they have a more hope on India lands than the
Okay.
independent candidates in others. Second thing, I think Rahel, I just want to tell Rahel one thing. Uh, there is nothing secret that there is a dialogue between government of India and the Jamaatis. Even Jamaat chief has already said that they had a dialogue with the government of India. Second thing is why I said Jamaat impact won't have that much on this election, because already in parliament election they supported Apni party. They supported officially Apni party, and Apni party lost to deposit. Their candidates lost their deposits. In some seats,
Right.
they may have impact, but the basic point is right now, currently, the way Jamati candidates are campaigning, that's against the Jamaat line, and people are not going to buy that, especially Jamatis. So, important thing is currently that people of J and Kashmir, they have a hope on the alliance. They know this alliance can only stop BJP making government in Kashmir. Why there is no wave of Engineer Rashid in South Kashmir? Why there is no such wave of Jamaat Islam in South Kashmir in assembly elections?
No, but what you're pointing out now there, and I'm going to ask this question to you only. You are saying that there is no wave which engineer Rashid has. There is no wave which the fundamentalist forces have, and of course there is no wave of NC and Congress as well. We can't say that there is a wave of Congress. People do have hope. People want change, but we can't say that there is wave of National Conference and Congress.
Let
So
me tell you. Let me
does it
tell you.
mean no, does it mean that this election is leading to a situation where you could end up in a fractured mandate?
Earlier, if you look at 2014, or 2024 also, Kashmiri used to react. But this time, Kashmiri are not going to react. They are going to act smartly, technically, and strategically. Because Kashmiri's main aim right currently in this election is to keep BJP away. So they know which which party is going to keep away BJP. So that's why Kashmiri are not they are not reacting on anything. They are acting,
No, but
and they will.
Nadir, is it true? Is it true that when the BJP leaders in Kashmir are going door to door, they are not being welcomed too much by the people of people of Kashmir? Is it true? And because the people are reminded of Article 370, the kind of atrocities which have happened, so the door to door campaigns of BJP, have they not worked very well this time?
It will never ever work in Kashmir as far as BJP is concerned. They are not
Hmm.
welcomed here. They will never be welcomed here. It's
Okay.
absolutely right. Because whatever they did on Kashmir since abrogation of Article 370, it has impact on people's mind. That's very dangerous. That's why they are
Hmm.
not welcomed here.
Right.
Look at the employment rate here. Look at the job issues here. Look at the demography threat here. So such kind of things that's in the mind of whether it's male or female, female Kashmir,
Hmm.
male Kashmir, they all have impact on
Right.
BJP's policies. That's why they are not welcomed here, and they will never ever be welcomed here.
Right. But Rohin, I'll come to you that all of a sudden, Afzal Guru uh, has come up in this entire election narrative. Now, yesterday when Atishi's name was announced, immediately, the BJP stroll army, they started saying that her parents are urban Naxalites and they filed mercy petitions, for Afzal Guru. All of a sudden, and this was just happening like one day before the first phase of polling. So why do you think that BJP time and again is raking up Afzal Guru, and will it have any advantage if it's raking up Afzal Guru? Will it have any benefit?
All such tactics by the BJP are old tactics just to consolidate their own votes, because they have a feeling that they might be not performing well in their own ground, which is Jammu. So these are all tactics done just to consolidate those Hindu votes in Jammu. But coming back to what Nadir said, uh, actually, if you see, uh, if engineer Rashid does not perform well, let's suppose if he does not performing well electorally, if he's not winning numbers, at least he has emerged as one of the very significant pressure groups which has kept PDP and National Conference and Congress to speak on the issues that Abdullahs and Muftis were not speaking. Be it the issue very vocal on the tortures, be it on the jailed people, jailed youngsters. Abdullahs were mum on these, and they were just trying to make up an issue around development, around education, around unemployment. These are definitely issues of Jammu and Kashmir, but in a conflict zone like Kashmir, there are also important lingering issues which do collide with such issues. So, Engineer Rashid at least has made such an impact where Abdullahs at least have to take a stand and speak. And when I say for South Kashmir, if Abdullahs were defeated, it was not because Engineer Rashid was a B team, but there are sentiments and there are resentments against Abdullahs and Muftis, and we should be crediting also BJP for this, because BJP has properly planted about the politics of Abdullahs and Muftis, that these are not your well wishes and they do not are not concerned, and they are well read in London and Britain, and they are just ruling you. So there are all such implications. So Kashmir is actually a land of theories. So when you create a resentment against Abdullahs and Muftis, then you also want to create a parallel leadership to these both stalwart leaders. And Farooq Abdullah is actually a stalwart leader, and he has seen the valley, the politics, how it has evolved throughout these years. And if actually people are voting for NC and Congress, it's because of the legacy of Abdullah's. It's because they also want, under quotes, their own leader to be there, right? And all these fears of keeping BJP away from the valley, or not letting BJP come in. BJP always does not need to come in power in Kashmir, especially because Kashmir elections are not like Haryana or Delhi or anywhere else. Kashmir, in any way, anybody who comes to the power will have to work at the discretion of the BJP or whatever the government is in Delhi. So these stories have been actually floated by NC and Congress that you have to keep the BJP away, you have to keep the BJP away, but they do not have a moral ground to say what is the plan to keep BJP away. It's not just electorally that you do not let them win. BJP also knows that they are not going to win even a single seat in Kashmir, and hence the theories of independence and AIP do hold some truth, that maybe these independents or these people might struck a deal with BJP that okay, if you at least then 10 seats or 20 seats, uh, your people would be released, or we would shadow ban your organization, or will lift some part of the ban. You would be able to culturally or educationally operate as Jamaat. So there are all such theories. When I said water testing of Jamaat Islami also wants to check what is the uh, how are people actually responding not only to these candidates, but how are people, are they supporting to Jamaat? Are they coming and voting against Abdullah's? Because when Nadir said that Jamaat Islami has actually condemned all these moves, Jamaat Islami has also accepted that NC and PDP and Congress did help them in functioning or operating in some or the other way. In their statement they have already said so. uh, Jamaat has always also not very clearly said that they are not backing these candidates, and they have never came very openly and said that we do not back these candidates. Jamaat senior leaders did attend the rally in Kulgam, and a day before, 24 hours when the first poll has to happen, they are releasing such a statement. So it actually, uh, there are a section of voters in Kashmir who actually believe that these elections are quite a pretentious exercise. As I had also said earlier, that there is no clear picture, there is no clear sense where these elections are going.
Which
If
means
they
what
want,
you are saying, in fact, this was my concluding question to you and Nadir both. I'll come to. If you're saying that the picture is not very clear, so is the question that who seems to be having an edge in this Kashmir election, is that a very difficult question to answer at this point of time, at least?
no, I think clearly NC and Congress will have an edge. What I mean by Engineer Rashid is an important player, uh, as he is able to put some dent into this alliance, right? And in Jammu, still I would say BJP is having an edge and very close to NC. But I do not rule out the possibilities of a NC and BJP government at this point of time.
Okay, so you are saying that the picture is not very clear, but you cannot rule out an NC-BJP government. Now, Nadir, I'll come to you. Who, according to you, seems to be having an edge? And what about the
Definitely
possibility of National
in
Conference going to BJP? Yes.
in Kashmir, alliance is having an edge. There's no doubt. In Jammu, I think slightly BJP is having edge, but Congress is working there also. Let's hope they will prefer better. But when look at the condition of PDP today, they are nowhere. From 28, they have come down to 78 seats. It's because only they had alliance with the BJP. Second thing is Delhi has all, as let me quote you Sajad Ghani Lone, who was the alliance partner of BJP. He has said Delhi has done a lot of experiments in Kashmir, but such kind of experiment they are having with these kinds of independent candidates, it's post-dated check for incoming disasters, and it has a smell of BJP. So Kashmir is a very sensitive issue. You have a lot of stakeholders here, very sentimental people here. So you can't play with the sentiments of the Kashmiri people.
Right. So, which means that whoever comes to power, whether it is the India Alliance's government or whether it is BJP's BJP government or BJP National Conference government, as what the possibility was highlighted by Rohin, but whichever government comes to power will be ruled by Delhi. If it is India Alliance, is going to have their own regular run-ins, like maybe what we are seeing in Delhi and what we saw in Delhi, I would say. And now how it's going to change, we do not know. So we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold. Now, the next phase, that is the second phase of Kashmir elections, I think is on 25th. Rohin, if
20.
I'm wrong, 25th. So 25th of September is the second phase of poll. Today, there were 24 constituencies which went to polls. And you've heard our discussion for the last almost half an hour, where it seems that nobody seems to be having an edge right now. So this is an election, who knows, might go down to the wire. Thank you so much, Nadir Ali and Rohin. It was wonderful having both of you on the program. Though the guests were limited, but I think the discussion was very, very good. And it gave a exact slice of what's happening in Kashmir. So thank you so much once again. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion, subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal.